What up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Squad Talk Podcast. My name is DJ Mav, and you can follow the Squad Talk page on Instagram at Squad Talk Podcast. Shout out to the homie Daniel, who's actually not with us today, but he'll be in on the next episode. Today's guest, a really good friend of mine, not necessarily in the entertainment industry, but it's all good. It's all about interesting conversation and interesting come-up stories. So he's a 25-year-old business owner in the kitchen remodeling industry, and he's been doing great. So I figured it'd be great to have him come on the podcast, give us some tips and just some good motivation. Edgar Castillo, how you doing, my boy?
Hey, what's up, guys? Good, how are you?
All right, man, doing good. Thank you for being on the podcast. Why don't we go ahead and, start with your journey, man? Start it where you want to start.
Sure, let's get into it. I guess I can start with my parents when they immigrated here to the United States.
Okay.
I was 8 years old at that time,
Mm-hmm.
and just had to go through a lot, learning a new language.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically starting from scratch, and just slowly just learning the language first, and then just moving forward, and
What grade were you in when you came in here into this country?
I was actually in fourth grade. Yeah, I
In
still
fourth
remember.
grade. Word, okay. And
Yeah.
that must have been pretty difficult, right? I could only imagine like going to a school that's in a different language. Was there any sort of extra, work that they would give you to help you catch up or anything like that?
Yeah, I had like a private tutor that would help me out, like to keep up with the language and like, I would understand some things, but once I got the ropes, it was kind of like, pretty easy from there.
Right on, right on. And during school, man, your whole process from second grade to when you graduated, like, were you into school or did you not like the whole process of schooling?
I did. I thought it was fun until like maybe around like middle school when it started to get hard. I know my parents were always like, hey, you got to go to school, you have to go to college, get an education, because that's what's best for me, according to them, which is true. I did go to college, but ended up dropping out.
Right on. My guy. um, for sure, man. So the reasons you chose to drop out, man, what was that? Like you were just not feeling the whole college system or
I feel like at that time I was doing it more for my parents than for me.
mm-hmm.
I've always kind of had like a hard time, like kind of like learning for some reason. Like, it was hard for me to like catch on to things sometimes. So,
Right.
um, I just realized, it wasn't really for me. But I knew I had some strengths in other places, so I just, doubled down on my strengths, and yeah, that's what I did.
Yeah. And I say my guy, not necessarily because I'm against college, but I'm just against people doing things that they don't want to do, as far as
Yeah,
like getting themselves into debt just because they're trying to keep their parents happy. You feel me? Like,
yeah,
um,
hmm
times are so different nowadays that college is not the only way for you to have a good life. It's
for
just,
sure. Yeah,
I think by now at this point is very clear to a lot of people.
yeah.
Cool, man. So, let's see here. When you're in high school, what are you planning for your life? Senior year in high school, what are you thinking? What road do you want to go down?
It's crazy, because when you're in high school, you have like so much expectations. I thought I was gonna be like an actor or something. No, I'm just like,
Oh, right on. I didn't know that.
no, I'm just kidding. But I did have, all these crazy dreams, like all these things I want to do. But at that time, senior year, I wanted to be a radiologist, which is kind of like a doctor.
Hmm.
Um, I was going to community college for that, but like I said, I did end up dropping out. But I never thought, I'd do what I'm doing now. So,
Right, right. So, what was the turn for you? How did you go from that to the industry that you're doing now? Walk us through that process. Or better yet, let me ask this
Um,
question again. When was your introduction to your industry?
it kind of just fell on my lap, to be honest. How it went down is, at that time I was in college, and my dad does like custom wood carvings, like for like let's say like a custom table. We're talking like expensive stuff. Like he worked for this place in Beverly Hills. That he did some stuff for Will Smith and stuff like that.
And
It
now,
was like super complex detail stuff.
almost like for the listeners out there, because I've seen his dad's work, it's almost like sculpting wood. Like you guys would be kind of almost like drawing with wood, if I could put it in
Yeah.
easy terms for people to understand. Like he would take like some wood, and then like a week later, there's like a lion coming out of it, and it's
Yeah,
all made of wood. It's crazy. I was like, dang, this must take forever.
exactly.
So all right,
So
for
my
sure.
my dad was kind of an artist, I mean, he's a sculptor, artist, and would do those carvings. And what happened was that as times changed, just like any other business, the modern stuff started coming out, which was more like, sharp edges. Not They didn't want lines, or you know what I mean.
Hmm.
So my dad essentially slowly went out of business. So we had to find something else to do. My dad had been doing that for over 20 years. So we started calling different places. We heard that kitchens was a good business to get into. And my dad asked me if I can help him call different places. And yeah, we just spent maybe about 2 days calling different places until he called the place, landed an interview. We went in there and started working for a company.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And
And
then
then,
go ahead.
yeah, and then after that, we started doing just after working for the company, learning, everything, learning the ropes. We just started doing our own thing. He did his own thing. I kind of worked for him for a few months, started doing my own thing, and now he has his own business, and I got mine.
Word. So that sounds like it kind of fell not I don't want to say necessarily fell into your laps, because if it would have fell into somebody else's laps, doesn't necessarily mean they would have been where you are right now, right? But it
Yeah.
seems like a pretty smooth process. Um, and between that time and this, what are we talking in time period?
Uh, Maybe around 3.5 years, somewhere around there.
Right on. And what was one of the biggest obstacles that you had to deal with when going solo, breaking off from working with your dad to doing your own thing?
Um, just becoming like a boss. There's more than to just saying, I'm the boss. There's consequences to everything. Sometimes speaking with like clients that were like, multimillionaires, or like, owners of like, I spoke to people who have like real estate worth like 100 million, you know what I mean? So it
Hmm.
was kind of scary or
Intimidating.
intimidating, yeah. Like just doing that all by myself was a bit intimidating, yeah.
Yeah. And how did you do with your crew? Did your dad stick with the crew that you had originally, or did you take some of the guys, or did you have to go through a interview process to get new guys, or what?
Um, we started off with a crew which was my one of my uncles that came to help us out, and then one of my dad's friends, and slowly, as the years went by, we added some people and removed some people as well.
Word, word. Um, okay, so before we get deeper into your business and um, your industry right now, growing up, were you always business oriented, or you never really thought about owning a business and just until it actually happened?
I was always business oriented. I remember as a kid, one time in fourth grade, actually that same year, I just came to the U.S. I think it has to do with my watching my dad work so much and like, hustle so much. But
Hmm.
what happened was in fourth grade, I don't know if you guys ever had those like um book, what are they called? Like people would come
Scholastics?
in and sell, yeah, something like
Those
that. I
book
think,
fairs?
yeah, book fairs, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
So one time there was a book fair and I asked my mom if I can have like $2. She gave me $2 and I bought this book that I wanted. And then I traded the book for another book, and then that book I traded for my friend's chain. So that day I came home with the gold chain. I was like, "Where'd you get that chain from?" So I don't
uh,
know if you call that business or hustling, but I
it,
think I hustled somebody.
yeah, yeah, for sure, man. Is somewhere down there. I feel like a lot of times, business minded people start very young. They start and they don't even realize what they're doing yet.
Yeah.
It's just the way they think. Like you in that time, you were like 8 years old or whatever. I don't know, and like you didn't realize
Yeah.
that you were pretty much getting rid of one item to go up to a higher one. But
hmm
you were just like, okay, well, if I could turn these $2 into a gold chain somehow, I'm gonna do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's cool. Like it's always really interesting talking to business owners, entrepreneurs, and seeing what they would do growing up for a hustle.
Yeah.
I got an interesting hustle that I'm not gonna get into in this podcast because I'm not necessarily proud of it, but uh,
Share it. Share it. Let's hear it. Come
I'll let you
on.
know someday. Um,
Okay.
so, all right. So, you did that. What about in high school? Did you do anything? Did you do the classic selling chips out of a bag thing, or were you just not really doing that?
No,
Or
throughout
I,
high
I
school
think
I
I know the
wasn't
answer
doing
to this question, but go ahead.
yeah, I was too focused on other stuff for some reason, so I wasn't really, focused on business at that time. Or like, actually, I was. Now that I think about it, me and my brother started like a little DJ, not a company, but we started DJing on the weekends. And yeah, I was like 13, 14 years old when we started, and we started like charging. I don't know if it was like 30 an hour or something like that, or
Hmm.
even less than that. But we started getting a lot of customers because we charged so little, and then we just had a bunch of clientele. So as we had more customers, asking us, "Are you available? Are you available?" We kept like putting our prices up,
Hmm.
and me and my brother were able to make pretty good money, for ourselves at that age. So
Right,
I didn't
right.
even think about that
I
till
remember that. That was the
right
answer I
now.
was talking about. I was
Yeah.
like, I remember
Hey.
that. Yeah, and then you used to DJ as well, hop on a mic here and there.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
hmm
yeah, for sure. Cool, man. All right, so getting back into your industry, man. You
Sure.
are. Let's see, you're 25 right now, so you were like 23 or 24 when it started happening. When you started going in through that change of working with your dad to working for yourself.
Correct, yeah.
How long? When did you realize, like, okay, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm going to focus on, and you decided to go 100% in on it.
Okay, so I'm gonna rewind a little bit. If you don't mind,
Mm-hmm.
once I dropped out of college, I was like, I'm gonna go full in on this. Do kitchen cabinets. I see the potential. I see how much I can make. So I went on it. Had my first deal had a kind of like a bad experience. Didn't work out too much, so I kind of got discouraged. Excuse me. Um, I kind of got discouraged, and then after that, I was looking to do other business. I try to get into Airbnb. So for the next like maybe year, I was just trying to focus. Like I was like, okay, this is good enough money to get by, but I'm trying to do like something else. So for that year, I was like trying to do Airbnb. I tried to do flipping houses. I also try to do, what's the other one? I tried a whole, different type of business, but they weren't like really working out. And I was just like maybe the last like 8 months, from now, 8 months back, I was like, you know what? I'm already in this because it wasn't always my dream to do like kitchen cabinets. You don't just wake up and be like, I love cabinets. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So So I just like, and also I didn't like it too much because I had to work hands on. You know, my hands were always dirty. I was always tired. I was like, nah, I don't really like this for me. But I was like, I'm already in this. You know, I know everything. You know, from the very bottom to the top, like how to build cabinets, just everything. You know.
Hmm.
So I was like, I'm just gonna go full in and try my best. So that's what I did. Maybe around 8 months ago, and you know. It's just made my business so much more bigger than I ever expected.
Right. Yeah, that year of experimentation, man, that's an interesting year. And I think it's pretty important because now you know that, all right, this is what I'm going to do. Because otherwise, you would
Yeah,
always have that itch in the back of your head, like, oh, man, I should have tried this, or like, I should have done that, So
yeah,
it's cool, we all got to have some failures, in order to get better. Um,
yep,
so you've been going in at this 8 months hard. Um, Out of those 8 months, at some point, obviously, the pandemic hit, right?
yeah. Hmm.
Um, how did that affect you as a business owner?
You know, it was pretty crazy, so at that time I had 8 deals lined up. That was about 2 or 3 months worth of jobs.
Hmm.
And when the pandemic hit, at first everything was fine because nobody was too like, worried about it. But then when people started getting worried, I basically lost those 8 jobs, in a row. So that means I was like out of a job for like the next 3 months.
Yeah.
So once that happened, I didn't work for maybe around 3 weeks because I didn't have the jobs for it. And then, but slowly, I started hustling more. So I saw I wasn't getting, I had lost all those jobs because none of them got back to me because they were just too scared or they didn't want to invest their money or save their money. So I had to hustle and get new clients, which I did. And
Hmm.
it just made me like work a lot harder,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. 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 And what was your? Do you still remember your first project, like individually, without your dad?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. What was that? Was that a personal house? Was that a apartment complex?
I did a condo. I did a condo. I did the condos and closets. I remember I was like super excited for it because it was the biggest, amount of money I had ever seen.
Hmm.
I'll tell you, it was around 18,000 or something like that.
Right on for the full project, right?
Full project, yeah. But it included kitchens, countertop, and closets. I thought it was a bunch of money. I was like, I'm excited for it. Hopefully I get to keep, 5 or 4.
Hmm.
But it was my first job. Didn't work out too well. I didn't get to keep, as much as I thought. But it at least like gave me some confidence knowing that I can at least do it. It didn't come out as planned. I didn't make the 5,000 as I thought I would, but
Hmm.
it at least gave me the confidence knowing that I can, take on a job by myself.
Yeah, yeah, right on. So, what is something like that worth like when a client has to pay, an invoice for 8,000? I mean, $18,000. Is this like they pay it all full up front, or do you guys typically require like half up front and then half at the end of the project?
It honestly depends on the customer. I do it 2 ways. I always have a contract for sure. Either way, we can do 50% up front, 50 at the end. But I personally feel more comfortable doing splitting it into like three payments. So like
Hmm.
33% up front, 33 midway, and then 33 at the end, if that makes sense.
Right, and those 33% in the beginning are put towards materials and labor, right? Or is that
Correct,
not
yeah.
how it works? Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Hmm.
Right on for sure. Because that was my question. Like, you probably have like a ton of materials you got to get, and you got to book all these contractors. You know.
Yeah, and I also gotta have I always gotta have money, just ready to go because, sometimes 50% is not enough to cover all the materials.
Yeah.
So, or like let's say, I mean 50 for the most part should be good, but when it's 30%, I gotta pay out of pocket. So I gotta invest. So I always gotta have, if I don't have hard cash, I gotta have a line of credit or something, you know?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, Workers, during the pandemic, were your workers hesitant to take up work from you?
No, they really wanted to work. They're like,
Right on.
I needed the money, gotta get the money. So they just wanted to work. I was always trying to be, as careful as I could, trying to get them hand sanitizers, the KN95 mask, and trying to make sure they were safe, so I can be safe, and their families and everybody else can be safe.
Hmm.
Because if one of them gets sick, it directly affects me or coworkers.
Right. And what about from the clients? Anybody ever give you a hard time? And not necessarily like, obviously they're booking you for the job, so they want you there. But
Yeah.
was anybody super demanding on the way things had to be done when it came to sanitation or anything like that? Or they were just like, look,
Uh,
just be careful.
yeah, just be careful. Yeah, I never had an experience where they were like too honest, but some customers would leave like hand sanitizer out so we can use and stuff like that.
Yeah, right on. For sure, man. So now we're into the beginning of 2021. You've made it through 2020. Um, what are some of the lessons as a business owner that 2020 taught you?
Um, I definitely learned that I could do more than I thought I could.
Hmm.
Um, at that time, before this 8 months, before I really, put in more work than I thought I could, at that time, I thought I was doing like a lot of work. I was like, man, I'm doing good. I'm hustling. But then, there's always like a next level to it when times get hard. Um, when I lost all those 8 jobs, I was like, yeah, that's like I'm out of money. Like I'm gonna run out of money, so I had to do something. So it's like an extra like boost or kick that I didn't know had, within me.
Hmm.
So I think that's what I would say. Yeah.
For sure. What about any advice for business owners? Because obviously we're still in the pandemic. For any business owners out there, doesn't matter what industry they're in.
Advice they should do because of the COVID.
Yeah, just maybe some to how to deal with the pandemic or just advice in general. At this time of our hectic lives.
Yeah, I would just say, just double down on the work and, if you can put in extra hours, just put in the extra hours and also, try to be smart about it.
Hmm.
But it really just, comes down to the hustle, just like putting in more work essentially.
Yeah. What is a typical day for you look like? A work day, obviously, not a day you're off.
Yeah, yeah. A day off, I go to the gym. No. Work day, really depends what I'm taking on that week. If I have a kitchen or two, or if I'm doing countertops, I can either work. Most of my jobs are like in LA, so I got to commute. I live in Palmdale, so I leave at 6 a.m. Sometimes I come home at 6 p.m., 7 p.m. It just depends on the day. I can be home 10 p.m. If I have a deadline to meet. So
Hmm.
it just really depends on the week.
Right, right, for sure. Um, as far as working from home, do you have any of those things? Is there any office days that you spend at the house?
I'm going through a transition right now from working physically and actually being there at the job. So trying to take some days off and work like from home. And I think right now, I'm taking days off maybe like once a week or twice, like every like 2 or 3 weeks. I'm not taking much days off at the moment, but when I do come home from work, I still gotta hop on the computer, get back to emails, customers, to renderings,
Hmm.
graphics and stuff like that.
How do you go about getting more clients? Because you're such a niche industry. You're so specific with the type of clients that you guys need. What are some of the things that you do to you pick up the phone? How do you know who to call? How do you go about marketing yourself?
I honestly I don't do too much like Instagram or like let's say like marketing like on Facebook or stuff like that. Most of my customers come from referrals. And so essentially, how I get my referrals are I try to do the best that I can with, with the job. Like let's say it's a kitchen cabinet or a vanity, whatever it is. I just try to leave it as best as I can,
Hmm.
and that's basically my form of marketing because people are happy with the job. They tell their friends, they share it on Facebook, and just off of that, I've just been able to get many customers.
Yeah. Okay, for sure. Um, Now I seen you post something online once, saying like, if you feel like you could do something, put in the work, anything is possible. I had
Yeah.
certain goals for myself this year, and then I shattered them, through all
Oh yeah.
those. Can you share some of those goals with us?
Yeah. I always go on rants. I don't know why, man. Anyways, yeah. So one of my goals was, I'll be honest with you guys. One of my goals was to hit $5,000 profit in a week.
Hmm.
And I had that goal. I was like, I might hit this in like 2 years, like 8 months when I really started putting in the work. I was like, I'm gonna hit this in like 2 years for sure. I'm gonna make this amount of money. And without noticing, just putting in the work, I was doing the math on like how the week had gone by, and then I realized I'm like, I hit this goal, So it was just very like surreal and like crazy moment for me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what's up. Now,
Yeah, it's not like that every week,
of
just
course, of course.
sometimes, yeah, sometimes I make, nothing, you know what I mean? It
Yeah,
just
most
depends on the
definitely.
week.
But that's just what happens when you are a business owner. You got your ups and downs. Especially, it varies from industry to industry. Some industries are like that, where other
Yeah.
industries. But that's the difference. A lot of people have lost their jobs in 2020,
Hmm.
right? A lot of people had careers that they spent years building, and
Yeah.
the pandemic took that away from them. So they're pretty much essentially starting their life over. Some, not all, right? And there's people that are in the fence onto, should I just hop back on the bandwagon as far as like getting a regular job, or I've always really wanted to do this business, should I do
Yeah.
that? What would you say to somebody like that?
I think, this is a perfect time to start a business, because one thing is, we got the time for it,
Is that your
we're in the
cat in the
middle of the
background?
pandemic. What's that?
Is that your cat in the background?
Yeah, sorry about that.
No worries.
He's
He's having a good
he's too
time.
much sometimes.
It's
Yeah,
all
he's
good.
too much.
All right, continue.
Um, yeah, I think it's perfect timing to start it, Then again, there's never a perfect time. It's just, you know, they say when you start is the perfect time. It's better to start now than tomorrow or a week from now. So I would just say, start. Even though there's a pandemic, people are still shopping, people are still doing everything, So
Hmm.
I think it's just a matter of starting whatever industry you're on or whatever you're trying to work on. I think if you just start, you'll do good. And I do want to say, like me, I know I'm doing construction. I could have done like something else. I just want to say, like, whatever it is, as crazy as it sounds, whether if you want to sell, candy or whatever, if you put in the work, it'll work out.
Yeah, for sure. Um, Now, walk us through some of your steps, or a step for somebody looking to open up a business. You can use yourself as an example, obviously. You got the idea. In your case, your idea is kitchen remodeling, right? You're like,
Hmm.
okay, I know how to do this. I got the
Yeah,
clients. I'm getting paid for it already. But how do I make
yeah,
my business a legitimate legal business? What are some of the steps that you have to take?
yeah, for sure. First of all, hop on Google.
Of course.
uh, that's what I did. So first, you got to get your name. Make sure that your name that you want for your business is actually available. So first get that name sorted out, and then you form an LLC or whatever works out better for you, sole proprietorship or whatever works for you the best. I would
Mm-hmm.
recommend just going on Google and looking that up.
Mm-hmm.
And also, for me, for kitchens, you gotta have certain licenses. So make sure you get your licenses, and just do an overall research on what you need to start that business. Yeah.
for that industry. Right, right.
Yeah.
Okay. So how many licenses do you need in your industry? Is it just like one, or is it a variety of them?
Depends. It's different. So I have my cabinet business, and then since I also do countertop, I need my countertop business license. I'm sorry.
Word.
So so for cabinets, it's the millwork license. It's a C6, and then for countertops, it's a different license, a C8, I believe. And it just depends. When you're going into construction, you don't need to necessarily be a contractor
Mhm.
as long as you're licensed in that specific thing that you're doing.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. I've always thought of the construction industry pretty similar to the event production industry, where there is so many jobs within that industry. Like everybody's
Mhm.
got their areas of expertise. So
Yeah,
like there's people that do countertops, like you said, in events. There's people that do solely like video, LED walls. People that only do sound. People that only do lighting, rigging, and then everybody's got like their own credentials that they need to
yeah.
have. So, what are your goals looking like for 2021 for your industry and your business?
I really want to get my business going on kind of like automated kind of I want to get to the point where I have an assistant where, whether it's a guy or girl, they're taking care of and getting back to customers, or they ask someone who's going out to get the measurements or and stuff like that. So I kind of just want to automate the business where I can just, step back a little and focus on making the business bigger rather than be so focused on, taking measurements and stuff like that.
Doing actual work, right?
Yeah,
Okay, dope, dope, man. Well, hopefully you get that accomplished, by the end of this year. Okay, dude. So why don't we go ahead and get into story time, man? We got a segment here called Story Time, where the guest
sure.
shares an interesting story, that has to do with their industry, something that happened to them. You got something for us?
Um, yeah, I'll say something that just recently happened about this just happened last week, about a week and a half. So I have this customer I work with. Well, I just started working with her. She's a older lady. She's I don't know, she's old enough to get her COVID vaccine. That's all I know. But
Word.
she's the way she talks is kind of like she wants to flirt, and I'm like, I'm not really catching it. She calls me like, because I know like older ladies are kind of sweet and they call you like
Honey.
love and
Yeah.
honey and stuff like that. But sometimes the way, she calls me like handsome, and like she calls me babe, like, hi babe and stuff like that. And like, I don't know, sometimes like it's a little bit too much, it's kind of
Yeah.
like
Chill,
creepy.
lady. Back up.
Yeah, so I think that's one of
So you
the
had
weird
a
experiences.
she never hit you up talking about, hey, you want to come take some measurements in my room?
No, no. But she does call me all the time. She's like, "Can you come and check the measurements for like this place?" She wants me to go often, so that's why I'm a little like
You're like,
it's a little
oh man,
sus.
I think this lady, wants me to use a different type of hammer.
Yeah,
Yo, that's funny, man. Crazy. That's crazy. I'd never expected that from like an older lady. You know.
yeah, dude,
Yeah, that's
pretty crazy.
interesting. Do you have a preference? Obviously, I imagine the money is more, you know, than
Yeah,
one project is more than another. But do you have a preference in the type of projects that you personally enjoy doing?
yeah, great question. I actually do. Um, I like to work with home flippers where they buy a house, they destroy the kitchen, and we put a brand new kitchen. The reason I like that is because I get to demolish the kitchen, see, how they work to how I could potentially turn them into. And then it's always, fun, exciting working with contractors, visualizing or putting my input into what would work out better, and like, what would bring in more income for them.
Mm-hmm.
And then another reason is because there's with customers. like let's say I'm doing your kitchen, you're gonna go through the whole kitchen, make sure everything's 100%, right?
Hmm.
Like, if you paid good money for it, you want everything, which it will be, you want everything to be perfect. But with contractors, they look through everything, but sometimes some customers, they literally take out a flashlight and go through every single thing. So it's a little bit easier working with the contractor. So
Right, right. And what about advice for anybody being on the other end of this? Anybody looking to get their kitchen remodeled and wanting to hire a professional? They've never done anything like this. So, what kind of questions should they ask? How do they know they're not being taken advantage of? Any of those kind of tips?
yeah, um, I would say just do your research, get different quotes from different people. I have amazing quotes, so come holla at me. But um, I would just say just do your research. Make sure you get quotes from different people. Make sure somebody gives you ask for advice because I've seen some people like think they're getting the dream kitchen from other people, of course,
Mm-hmm.
and then they don't. Actually, this recently just happened with one of my customers. She, I gave her a quote for a kitchen, and somebody else gave her a quote that was like $500 or 600 $600 less than me. And she was saving money, so she decided to go with him. The kitchen was just awful. The materials they used was MDF. I'm not sure if you guys are aware, and MDF is just really bad material. Her kitchen is only gonna last like maybe about 5 to 7 years at the most. When mine, lasts 10 to 12 years. So I mean,
MDF is the material used for the cabinets.
over 10 to 12. Yeah, MDF is just like primed wood, and then what I use is 3/4 A grade plywood. So plywood is a lot more stronger than MDF because once MDF gets wet, it just falls apart. So
Mm,
so some things I would recommend for customers to look into is make sure you're getting plywood, make sure that the cabinets are actually made out of wood, and make sure that everything is like if you're looking for soft close cabinets where you just slam the door and it closes soft, just make sure you look into all the like minor detailing.
yeah. What's the vibe right now? What are a lot of people putting into the kitchens? What's the trend?
Right now, I would say shaker style cabinets. So shaker style is kind of like a box kind of, and a lot of people are just asking for that. I feel like right now we're going back like we were kind of like in the modern, like I'm still doing modern kitchens, but we're kind of going back to more like not traditional, but kind of not as modern kitchens.
Mm,
So I feel like that's the trend right now. Yeah.
yeah. Now with modern kitchens, they obviously look like super dope. I've seen them, all the time. They're like, damn, they look nice. But are they
Yeah.
actually? Is there any sort of storage space that you have to sacrifice to get that look, or is it actually the opposite, where you actually get more storage space?
It's about the same. I would say modern kitchens do have more options. Like let's say you want to get like something, you've seen out of a movie or something like let's say you want like custom like Lazy Susan. I'm not sure if you guys know what Lazy
Nah,
Susan
tell
is,
me
but
about
it's like
Lazy Susan, man. How's she doing? What's that?
she's pretty lazy, but here I'll tell you. Lazy Susan is a cabinet in the corner. It has two doors. You open it, and inside it has like a spinning, you know, I guess kind of a wheel.
Uh huh.
And then inside there you can put your dishes or whatnot, or spices, whatever you like. So if you get like a modern one, it can be whatever you like. If you don't want something spinning inside, you'd rather have like a pull out or like pull out
Mm,
drawers or just many options you can have.
the Lazy Susan. Okay, that's kind
Yeah.
of an
Yeah.
interesting name. um,
Y-
it sounds
Yeah.
like a pain in the ass though if you have like something that falls back there while you're turning the wheel.
Yeah.
Something that gets jammed in the
Yeah.
back. You're like, man, how am I gonna get my tapatio out now?
Yeah.
Okay, so what is one of the craziest, most extra flashy builds you've done for a client? Some shit like out of a movie kind of thing.
I've done a few crazy ones. I just did one not too long ago. It's on my page. Essentially, it has countertop. So I'll start with the island. The island has countertop at the top, obviously, but also has some on each side. That's called a waterfall.
Mm-hmm.
So the countertop it goes running from the floor on one side, going up through the cabinets, and then going back down again,
Mm-hmm.
and then following the same flow. For that specific job, it has that countertop had like veins going through.
Mm.
So, we make sure we get enough countertop so we can make the veins align so it's a consistent flow all around, if you know what
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah. That's dope. That's dope. Nobody's ever had you build a pull out bed out the kitchen or anything like that. You know, like
No,
some weird shit like
nothing
that.
like that.
Word. For sure, man. All right, man. So Edgar, go ahead and let them know, bro, where they can find you. They're trying to get your kitchen remodeled, and any of that good stuff.
Yeah, you can find my kitchen page. It's Castrum Kitchen, Castrum kitchen. And then if you want to follow me, it's at EZGRR Edgar.
There it is. Castrum Kitchen. Make sure to hit him up for all your kitchen needs when it comes to remodeling and rebuilding your kitchen. So don't sleep on that. All right, bro. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. Let's go ahead and end it with one of your favorite quotes. Any quote.
Hey, that's a hard one. Um,
YOLO.
yeah, I
He said YOLO.
YOLO, yeah. Yeah, I really can't think of one right now, but
No worries.
let's say, yeah, I don't know.
All right. YOLO it is then.
YOLO, just,
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you,
thank you.
man. All right, everybody tuned in. Thank you guys for listening to another episode of Squad Talk. We'll catch you on the next one. All right? Squad Talk.